Thank you for joining us for this week's Carnegie Museum Spotlight. I'm here with Dave Neff. We're both members of the Carnegie Museum Board.
Yes.
And so we want to be able to get together, give you guys a highlight of what's going on, kind of what's coming up in the future. And so Dave, why don't you kick it off for us?
Kick it off. Well, the timing was right because we just had our monthly meeting, and so I got all kind of fresh stuff to share with you viewers out there. October, it's been a great month for our museum. Each month is, but good things are happening. You may recall that starting last spring, the Kelly Glass Company worked very hard to remove and start replacing windows. But when August came, something about they had contracts with
some
public schools and
Yeah.
other people that needed to have stuff done by the end of August before school began. And so they have been absent for the last few months, and now they're back on site, Kelly Glass Company, and they should have most of the project completed within the next 2 weeks. They're working on the north side and the west side. One today that we spoke with Jake about when we were at the museum, Sherry and I, is on the west side where there is a Parsons exhibit on the third floor. And there are antique books dating back to the 1500s they're not on display, but they're in the display. And so we're going to go Monday, and I think Joe Hunt's going to help us, and we're going to move all those things away from two windows. So Kelly Glass, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they can start working on those two that they've sort of been holding on.
It'll be really good to see that project get wrapped up. Definitely give me a shout if you guys need help moving some of that. I know some of that stuff is heavy and fragile.
Right.
And so more than happy to help out with that.
Okay.
But yeah, if you have not come to the museum and seen the updated windows, they're just fabulous looking, and they really make the building pop.
Major upgrade in the quality. The other ones at the time they were installed were state-of-the-art. Well, these are even more state-of-the-art, but we've been able to go back and bring back the curved tops that used to be on the prior windows before the existing ones. And so they are doing that, and these were on the original windows. We do have another project in store. Once the windows are complete, we're going to be putting blinds on the windows, and this will better protect our artifacts and displays, and that way the sun coming in won't fade, and other things we can open and close as needed. If we need more light, we can do that, but to protect, we will have those blinds in place, and so it'll be a much better opportunity than what we have had for the last 20, 30 years.
It's handy having windows that will protect against UV and heat. And right. So those are the two most damaging factors you can have for artifacts. So
yes.
It's great to have that capability moving forward.
Well, we're very thankful for our foundation, the Carnegie Museum Foundation, and the donations. A lot of these bigger ones, Greater Jefferson County Foundation, but the Lee Gobble estate made a major piece. And those of you who have been around long enough remember Lee Gobble Clothing over on the the west side of the square, the north end of that side, and but he made a major gift to 3 different entities, one of them being the museum, and this is proof in the pudding that it does work when you plan ahead and do plan giving from an estate on that.
So we do have a foundation. So any kind of gifts or donations that you as the public want to give, please reach out to the foundation, and that's one of the best ways to do it. That way you can get your tax write-offs and things like that in order as tax season is rapidly approaching.
Well, and another thing that we talk about here as we come into the last part of the year, there are many of us who are above 65 that are starting to receive distributions from our IRAs and from other retirement plans. And if you make what's called an RMD, a required minimum distribution, instead of taking that money and then you're taxed on it from some of the IRAs, you can gift that money directly to a 501c3, just like our foundation at the museum. And then you get a tax write-off, and you do not have to pay tax on that distribution. So it's a grand way, and it's one thing that we are trying to promote, and hopefully next year we'll be able to beat the drums a little bit more about that. But it's been a great way to raise money from private individual donors in our community.
And that money goes to great use. So
Yes.
we've always got things that we have in the works to. Well, I don't know. You always have. We always have building projects on the docket, especially when you're in a historic building. So
1892, whatever it is. But anyway, yeah, one of the next big things is the roof, and it's flat, and it had some major leaks. We were able to put some Band-Aids on them here this early fall, but that's going to have to be another big one in line for us and the foundation to take consideration.
Yep, coming up with those 5, 10-year, 15 plans of projects.
Right,
So-
exactly. So, well, we just feel very fortunate that the funds are there, these projects are being checked off and being taken care of. But let's get to some fun stuff here.
Absolutely.
We have been blessed. This is the 30th month. That's a year and a half plus, isn't it?
It's amazing it's been that long.
Almost 2 years. Wow. Another 6 months. Yeah. Okay. So November, we will call it the Century Heritage Farm, but we're going to give it's going to be called the Golden Anniversary Farm. And this is something new that we're testing. For the last 29 months or so, we have been working under the auspices of the Iowa. So I'm losing it now. Okay.
Farm Bureau.
Iowa Farm Bureau, where they designate a heritage farm at 150 years or more, a century farm at 100 years or more. And we have so many more farms here in Jefferson County that are 50 years and more. So this is our inaugural Golden Anniversary Farm. And the Schmidt family is the ones who are going to kick us off for this. They've been in the same family for 50 years or more. We will continue to highlight the heritage, 7 generations, 150 years in the century farms, well into 2025. But we had an open month, and we said, let's do this. So the Schmidt family, those of you that come in and out of the museum know our curator, director, Jake Schmidt. This is his mom, Carolyn. Most people know her as Sid Schmidt, is the current owner of this farm. Raul Whittam was her dad. 1941 was the year that he bought his first 80 acres. They've added another 100 contiguous acres, so 180 acres is what is part of their farm that we are celebrating here. And that will be Friday, the 1st of November. We'll kick that off and probably have somebody to record an interview, maybe Ariel or
Yeah, I'm
somebody.
pretty sure we'll have Ariel there. And one of the things that's great about these is, they tag right along with the art walks.
Yes.
And as we get the cooler weather coming in, it's a great place to go, stay warm, enjoy a great talk, and be able to interact. And so we always enjoy seeing the larger crowds come in when we have these. And it also gives you a very convenient reason to go see the rest of the museum if you haven't.
Yes.
So,
And this will be on Friday the 1st. We will do our video recording starting at 6 p.m. on the second floor in the open area on the west side of the building. And we do the video as we mentioned before, but it's a time, and I think Carolyn's brother, Kenny, is going to be the primary one that sits with me and asks. And I'll ask questions and he'll describe, or I'll just turn him loose. And if he can cover a half an hour, I won't ask any questions.
So some people have really detailed family history stuff all put together, all ready to go, and other ones, sometimes we, kind of prompt and ask questions and engage.
I want to be ready because some of these have been 150. This is only 50 years, so maybe there won't be as big a story to tell.
Very possible.
No, but we're looking forward to it. This has been something that we've even reached out to the Iowa Farm Bureau and given a sample of what we have done and how many months to see. They have a publication called the Farm Bureau Spokesman, and we said might be something you want to do an article because other counties, similar situation. We have seen through looking at the Southeast Iowa Union that Mount Pleasant, Henry County, has done one of these. So they may be picking up on it, and which is fine, borrow our ideas, but to be able to help highlight because of our rich history in agriculture in our beautiful state of Iowa on that. So, yeah. Okay, family fun. Dave and Sherry got to take a road trip. We had a family wedding up in Winona, Minnesota, and La Crosse, Wisconsin. And in Winona, there is a very famous historical museum, and they have had very, very rave reviews on the various projects they have. As we had a chance to visit there, it's just like what's being remodeled over here, an old armory across the street.
Oh, yeah.
Same type of a roof, same type of a line on there, but they have restored and redone, but it has just been beautiful. We had a chance to spend 20 plus minutes with their director. She is much aware and friends with Biff Coomer and Kay Ferguson, who sit in on our meetings and have made some wonderful donations and things. But she seems so interested that she says, maybe I should take a summer trip and I should come down for a weekend or whatever, and you can show me around. So, boy, what a deal. If we can tap in and let her be aware of what we're doing, maybe we can cross-pollinate ideas. Sherry and I took a number of photos, and we came back and shared that at our meeting the other night. And even if we can pick up one or two thoughts and ideas from a top-quality museum, I think it'd just be a wonderful way to say, hey, this is another thing that we want to explore, another thing we'd like to do, just like we're highlighting the farms, but we're starting to rotate through on various businesses of Fairfield, tell the history of it. One of the other things that we have just started discussing since our meeting the other night was maybe the different cities, Libertyville, Pleasant Plain, the other communities, and give them a 2 or 3 month spot that they can tell their story so everybody is aware. It's not just Fairfield.
We're all part of Jefferson County, so
Yes.
we all have an impact.
Yeah. So that's something new that nobody else knows about. So just Jason and I are talking about it here. But you're in
Now you're in the loop.
in the head of the loop. And so if anybody's interested in helping out on these, that would be wonderful.
No, we've had so many, kind of recent additions and redoing some of our older displays and things like that, and giving things new life. It's really been a treat to go in there and see everything that's being done. So we're constantly looking for those new ideas, new ways, new approaches. It's great to do things, kind of the way traditionally or how things have always been done. But at the same time, being able to change, pivot, and move where we need to moving forward is a really good flexibility to have.
One of the things that we have implemented this year, as there are people saying, I'm interested in helping, we have developed a 1-year internship. And so we have your associate, Ariel Sewell from Fairfield Productions, and Laura Bishop, who works at our Fairfield City Hall. And they sit in on our meetings, they can participate, but that way they know what they're getting into when it's time for them to step up next year to be part of the board of directors on that. And so I think it's a grand opportunity, and if people do have an interest in history or a family tradition that they would like to see implemented, we'd be more than happy to get you involved and engaged, because there's going to be some of us that are moving on next year, and we put in our 6 or 8 years, and time to get fresh
or
blood.
more.
or more. That's right. So anyway, looking to the future. If you don't have a plan, you can't get to where you want to go. And so one of the things that we did a year ago, and we are now planning to do again here on December 3rd, is to have a joint meeting of both our city board that you and I are involved with and the foundation board. And this is where people can bring in a wish list or a vision, or what can we do in 1 or 2 years? What can we do in 5 years? Look at the building opportunities. Like we said, we got the tuck pointing, we got the windows, we got blinds, we're going to have a roof. What else is going to have to be done? And so that way you have cross-pollination between the two boards, and people can say, well, have you thought of this, or why don't you do that? But then we can even talk about some of the displays and the artifacts and digging them out. And you never know where artifacts are going to come from. In fact, I'm going to share with you right now something that was gifted to us. In fact, some friends that are pulling in this afternoon, I mentioned their name before.
I was wondering if we were going to talk about that.
Yeah, Biff Coomer and Kay Ferguson. They're on their way back from Wisconsin back to Omaha, and they're in town now. We're going to have a meal with them this evening. But Biff was able to come upon an original book, Dante's Inferno, and this was a part out at Parsons and other things. And it was, of course, original from, 1500? I forget what it was.
I forget the date as well. Old.
Old, way back. And so if you pick it up and touch it, you wear gloves on there. Biff was kind enough to say, I'm going to donate this. I've located it. But then he also has paid to have the pages restored or improved so they don't crinkle and fall apart and other stuff from that. And we now have that on display in the Parsons College area there on the third floor. And so we would invite people that would like to see it, but it's signed by Dante, whatever his full name was. And then also it was a gift from him to Charles Parsons. So we have Charles Parsons, who founded Parsons College back in 1875, as a signer in that book too. So it's under glass, it's safe. People can look at it.
Well protected.
That was our big concern, that we don't let people start to flip through and then pages rip and tear. But that is one of the latest editions that is now on display. But we would invite people to come take a closer look, because it's a beautifully restored antiquity. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Did I just make that up?
No.
Okay.
It's a legit word.
Okay. Just checking on that. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun to see some of these, and as more space, as we're going through, Chris Small has done a wonderful job with a software program called Past Perfect, where you notate an item, an artifact, and where did it come from? When was it gifted? Who gifted it? Where is it located? And then if we can find a value, we had, I'm going to say 20 years ago or so, they had some appraisals done, and that's another thing that we're talking about.
Insurance.
Yeah, and insurance covered it. What happens if we have a derecho? What happens if we have a fire? And so these are all pieces of the puzzle that our two boards are trying to put together and say, we're protected, we're covered if something would happen, and to go from there. How many people show up? My recollection is that Fairfield High School class reunions, I think Jake has had 5 or 6 of them, and there'll be 60, 70 people that will show up for this. And it's just been remarkable, the response. And I didn't know that. I just remember a buffalo. Well, the buffalo's still there. What else can we do?
And updated and redone and refurbished to make sure that it's lasting far into the future as well. So,
and it is a pretty one. I remember when they finished it. It was during COVID when we were shut down, and the gentleman came in. He said, I'm not going to remove it from the building. I'm going to take it to the basement with a workbench. I'm going to fluff and buff and sparkle and bring it back so it almost looks like it's smiling at you again. But we'll have people that'll come in and, is it still? Yep, come over here, take a look. And it is a remarkable piece. But we have had Fairfield High School class reunions. We've had tours from out of town. We have had bus tours from Des Moines. We've got more inquiries about that. And 2022, we had 2,500 people that came through the doors. 2023, redoubled that to 5,000. And Jake tells us we're on course now. If we continue at this pace, that by the end of December, we'll have over 6,000 people that have come through the doors. It's remarkable. It really is.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And people do it and they enjoy it, and then they say, well, I'm going to bring my family. I'm going to bring some friends. I've got people coming from out of town. I'm going to show them because they grew up here and they just can't get over. So that's why we want to encourage folks to come and take a look, because it's not the same old museum you had 20 years ago or 40 years ago when you were growing up. But with all of these rotating pieces, with the farm rotating on a monthly basis, with business and industry rotating every 2 or 3 months, and now with the discussion of highlighting our different incorporations in the county of Jefferson to be highlighted. And once again, nobody else knows about it other than you, but we're gonna pursue that and get it out and see what we can do in order to toot their horn and let them tell their story on there. So. Well, we have a very, very engaging board. Our meetings sometimes, as the moderator on them. I've got to tone people down because we can spend half an hour talking on one subject, and
Important subjects,
they're all important. But anyway, yeah, agreed. But we try and keep it to an hour and a half if we can. But it's an engaging. We laugh, we enjoy, but we have, as they say, we have the ability to get things done, and it does happen. And Jake and his team, Charlotte Wright, works right hand with him. And one of the other projects just recently completed, Charlotte was, well, you're down in the basement. I guess it's okay. You got plenty of light down here, but she didn't have that much light downstairs. And Charlotte has now moved to the third floor and up to the fourth as far as what is the attic of the building, but all new lighting is through there. And so she can have her computer, she can have her other items and pieces of equipment that she needs in order to do her job of documentation and bringing things together. So
it seems like a never-ending process.
it is. Well, when you have that much age and that much other stuff, when you look at there's plumbing issues, there's electrical, there's always something to do. So we're going to have a project almost every year going forward to provide that maintenance and upgrade and other things that need to happen on there. Yeah.
Well, anything else that we can think of?
I am just enthralled with what has happened. Once again, if anybody has a specific interest, we have 2 interns now. There's an opportunity that without obligation, without commitment, to come and sit in on the meetings. And if it's something you think you'd like to participate in and help with going forward, we're going to have 3 spaces open during 2025, 2026. And we would like people that have the knowledge, have the persistence, and, as I said, Dale Carnegie, the ability to get things done. Not just to come and sit and listen, but we want helping hands in order to jump in.
Many hands make light work.
I like that. Can I write that down? Did you just come up with that?
Oh, no. I stole that.
Good. Well, Jason, I greatly appreciate the time and the ability to sit and share on a monthly basis with your audience. And it's a great place to live. And this, as they say, is the best weekend for color and fall colors and other stuff, so people getting out and about. But when you do have a day that you want to do something inside the Carnegie Museum, we're open not on Mondays, not on Sundays, but Tuesday through Friday, and like from
noon to 4, I believe, right?
Noon to 4, and then Saturdays from 11 to 3. So we have times that are available for people to come through. And if you do have a class reunion, you do have a family gathering, you got 8 or 10 people, we'll set up a specific time for a tour, so you can see and listen as to what is alive at the museum.
Well, I'll have our website listed below for the museum, and then also interact with us. If you're on social media of any kind, we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, we have an X page, which formerly known as Twitter. And then, so get connected. We have a lot of people who interact a lot on those. A lot of times Jake's always posting old photos we come across and things like that. And so get plugged in, find out what's going on, and join the fun.
It is. Jason, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate having you on here.
Okay.